Okay, so have you ever had like one of those moments where you could swear you had lived this exact second before?
Yeah, you mean like déjà vu.
Exactly, deja vu.
hmm
Or like maybe sometimes things just feel a little bit off.
Yeah, yeah, like a little flicker or a glitch in the matrix or something.
Right, exactly. And we're going to like dive deep into all of that today on the show.
We're going to be exploring these experiences through the lens of the Law of One material, specifically from those raw material books.
So cool. I love those books.
Me too. It's a really unique perspective on things like déjà vu and reality glitches.
Yeah, for sure. And for anyone who's new to this, the Law of One, it was communicated by this being or group of beings called Ra. They're like this social memory complex.
Yeah, think of it like a collective consciousness, a bunch of beings acting as one mind.
Yeah, and basically they told us that all of existence is unified. They talked about these different densities of consciousness,
Like different levels of reality, each vibrating at a specific frequency.
right? And understanding this is kind of key to wrapping your head around their explanation of things like deja vu and those reality glitches.
Definitely. It's a pretty wild ride.
So let's start with the basics. What does the Law of One say about the nature of reality? Like, what's the foundation of everything?
Well, it all starts with the one infinite creator. It's like the ultimate source of everything.
Okay, so like everything came from this one source.
Exactly. And here's the thing, everything is still a part of this source. It's not separate. It's all connected.
Wow, so we're all just like little pieces of this one infinite creator.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And from this oneness comes the densities of consciousness.
Oh.
Those different vibratory states you mentioned earlier.
Okay, so can you break down those densities a little more? What are they like?
Imagine it like a spectrum, kind of like the colors of the rainbow. Each color represents a different density of consciousness.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, so you have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Each density has its own focus, its own lessons to learn.
So like what are some examples?
Well, in red density, it's all about basic survival, kind of like the primal instincts. Then you move up to third density, which is where we are now. That's the yellow ray. And it's all about self-awareness and interacting with others.
Makes sense. So what about those higher densities? Like what's it like in the blue or indigo densities?
Well, those are more advanced. In fourth density, which is the green ray, it's all about love and understanding.
That sounds nice.
It is. And it gets even more complex as you go higher. But the thing is, Earth is actually transitioning from third to fourth density right now.
Whoa, that's a
Uh,
pretty big deal.
It is. It's causing a lot of shifts and changes, both in our individual lives and on a global scale.
So basically we're moving towards a more loving and understanding reality.
That's the hope. But it's not always easy. This transition can be pretty chaotic.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So back to third density, what makes it so unique?
Yeah.
You mentioned something about a veil of forgetting.
Ah, yes. The veil. It's like a curtain that separates us from our true nature. It makes us forget who we really are and where we came from.
Why would we want to forget all that?
Well, according to Ra, it's necessary for us to experience free will and to learn from our choices. If we remembered everything from past lives, we wouldn't be able to make genuine decisions.
So the veil is like a way for us to have a truly unique experience in this density.
Exactly. It allows us to explore different aspects of ourselves and to grow spiritually.
That's deep. So how does all of this relate to time and space? Like how do those concepts fit into this model of reality?
That's a great question. The Law of One talks about time, space, and space-time.
Time/space and space/time. What's the difference?
Time-space is basically what we experience as linear time, past, present, future. It's the framework of our everyday reality.
Hmm.
Space-time, on the other hand, is more about the unseen realms, the spiritual dimensions where all time exists simultaneously.
Whoa. So it's like saying that everything is happening all at once.
Kind of. It's hard to grasp from our third density perspective, but basically it's their way of explaining that time isn't as fixed as we think it is.
Okay, so with this in mind, how does the Law of One explain deja vu? That feeling of having already experienced something.
Well, they suggest that déjà vu could be a moment where the veil thins and our subconscious mind recognizes a pattern from another point in our existence.
Like a glimpse into a past life or something?
Possibly. Or maybe even a potential future. Remember, in space-time, all time exists at once.
Right. So maybe we're just tapping into that for a split second.
Exactly. And our conscious mind tries to make sense of it by saying, hey, I've been here before.
That's so cool. So deja vu is like a little reminder that there's more to reality than we see.
I think so. It's a little wink from the universe.
Love it. Now, what about those reality glitches? Those moments where things just feel off?
Well, the Law of One connects those glitches to the shift in densities that we're going through.
You mean Earth moving from third to fourth density?
Yes. As the planet's vibration changes, our perception of reality can become less stable.
So it's like the ground is shaking beneath our feet.
In a way,
Ah,
yes. And this can manifest as those weird, unexplained glitches that you mentioned.
okay, that makes sense. So is there anything we can do to, like, minimize these glitches or at least understand them better?
Well, the law of one talks about the power of thought forms.
Thought forms. What are those?
Basically, they're like energy patterns created by our thoughts and beliefs.
So our thoughts can actually shape reality.
To some extent, yes. And during this transition period, there are a lot of conflicting thought forms flying around.
Which is probably why things feel so chaotic right now.
Exactly. It's like a big cosmic soup of energy. And until we reach a more unified state of consciousness, we're likely to experience more of these glitches.
Hmm. So what can we do about it?
Well, one thing we can do is work on our own energy centers or chakras.
Right, the chakras. Those are important, aren't they?
Very important. They regulate the flow of energy throughout our bodies.
And if they're blocked or out of balance, it can affect our perception of reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For example, a blockage in the indigo ray center can make us more prone to experiencing glitches.
The indigo ray center. Isn't that related to intuition and psychic abilities?
Yes, it is. And when it's blocked, we might have trouble accessing those abilities, which can make us feel disconnected from the bigger picture.
Okay, so basically we need to keep our chakras balanced in order to navigate this transition smoothly.
That's a good way to put it. And the Law of One offers a lot of guidance on how to do that.
Like what kind of guidance?
Well, they talk about the importance of meditation healing work and balancing our emotions.
So it's all about finding inner peace and harmony.
Exactly. And they also emphasize the need to cultivate love and wisdom in our lives.
Love and wisdom. Those are pretty universal concepts.
They are, and they're essential for our spiritual growth. The more we embody these qualities, the more stable our reality will become.
So it's not just about fixing external problems, it's about transforming ourselves from within.
Exactly. It's an inside-out approach.
I like that. So what about wanderers? Do they experience reality glitches differently than the rest of us?
Well, according to the Law of One, wanderers also experience the veil of forgetting. So their conscious experience of reality is similar to ours.
But they come from higher densities, right?
Yes, and because of that, they might be more sensitive to the subtle shifts happening in third density.
So they might pick up on the glitches more easily.
Possibly. It's like they have a finer-tuned instrument, so to speak.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So even though they're here to help us, they're also going through their own process of learning and adjustment.
Exactly. We're all in this together.
So what's the main takeaway here? How can we apply all of this to our lives?
Well, I think the Law of One offers us a really hopeful perspective on these weird experiences. It's not that reality is breaking down, it's that it's transforming.
So instead of freaking out about the glitches, we can see them as signs of growth.
Exactly. They're like little wake-up calls reminding us to pay attention to our inner world and to align ourselves with love and wisdom.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. So maybe these reality glitches and deja vu moments aren't just random occurrences, but opportunities to connect with our true nature.
I think so. They're like little cracks in the illusion, giving us a glimpse of the bigger picture.
And if we can learn to interpret these signs, we can navigate this transition with more grace and understanding.
Absolutely. It's all about expanding our consciousness and embracing the mystery of it all.
Like a perfect note to end on. I think this has been one of our most mind-blowing deep dives yet.
I agree. It's been a wild ride.
For sure. But it's given me a lot to think about, and I hope our listeners feel the same way.
Me too. It's always fascinating to explore these deeper aspects of reality.
Well said. And with that, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring the mysteries of the universe.
And keep an eye out for those glitches. They might just lead you to something amazing.
Absolutely. You never know what you might discover.